My name is Srinivas. I'm a product manager with PayPal platform. And today's topic is slightly atypical in terms of talking about commercial payments. So typically you see, as you see, like yesterday and today, it's all about digital payments and mobile and microtransactions and things like that. So we're going to take it a different league altogether. It's called commercial payments. So, and what is it for the developer, right? So along with me, we have Russ Jones, who is a partner at Glenn Brooks, and we have Renee from Bill.com, and we have Mike from FreshBooks. So the agenda we have today is I'm going to talk briefly about the opportunity. We have Glenn Brooks talking about the business-to-business payments landscape, and we have a Payables success story that's Bill.com, how they use the business payments product that we launched, which we announced yesterday. They have been working with us for the last 3 months. And we also have a Receivables success story by FreshBooks. So what are the goals for the session? First of all, we would expect you to get an overview of the commercial payments opportunity itself. How big is it? What is in it for me as a developer? And we want to listen to an industry expert, that's Glenn Brooks, talking about, here, this is true, what Srinivas is saying is true. So we have some validation there. And we also have... I'm not making it up. So we have 2 cool demos by 2 very successful startups. Like these are the guys whom you want, look at for inspiration. So we have FreshBooks and Bill.com, and we want you to hear their story as well. So what is commercial payments, right? So there's a pretty tricky name there. So the best definition I could come is that commercial payment supports a commercial transaction. Of course, so it's nothing great there. But we want to go into the detail. What is a commercial transaction? So for the present discussion, we're looking at like a business-to-business payment, one business paying another business. So it could be like a payables or receivables. We're also looking at a business to a consumer. Like we have specific use cases like a payroll, like a rewards, or a disbursements. These are things probably qualify for a commercial payment. And we also have a few use cases that are consumer to business, but these are not retail, they are not checkout. So anything non-retail, non-checkout is what, for the present discussion, we're looking at as a commercial payment. Now look at the statistics, right? So this is a US consumer spending. Do you know how big this is? Anyone can guess? Is it billions or trillions? It's about $8 trillion industry. Now, this has retail and non-retail. So if you take away the retail portion, right, so this is, the e-commerce space is less than 0.6% of the entire 8 trillion. So if you just take only the retail e-commerce space and offline, take away the offline, what we focus today, every day, is just the online payment. Within PayPal, we call this as a Pac-Man chart. Look at this Pac-Man, you guys play the Pac-Man, right? So if you look at all the other areas like Medicare, recreation, professional services, or personal services, food, transportation, nobody has disrupted that area. That is an opportunity for you that we are talking about almost $8 trillion industry. Now, what is uniqueness of this commercial payment? Why isn't people have not disrupted thus far, is that one is typically uses a flat fee. Like typically you look at an e-commerce transaction, it's all about percentage based. So you need a flat fee based pricing. That's one of the things why we launched the business payments product yesterday, is that, hey, it's 50 cents flat. You could send one business can send to another business anywhere in the world. And it needs remittance detail, because unlike in a consumer payment, a business needs something more. You pay a guy with $10,000 saying that I paid you $10,000 because of invoice number 1, line item 1, line item 2, invoice number 3. So they need that amount of remittance data to reconcile that payment. It demands of ease of reconciliation, because unlike a consumer who can download your transaction history from PayPal, these guys would want a transaction to be reconcilable in an API call or something like that. And it provides overall transparency on the fees. That's where PayPal is going to disrupt with flat 50 cents fees, no more hidden costs. And we are looking at how could we get into the commercial payments along with the developer community and offer a transparent fee mechanism. Of course, there are other things like, workflow is a very important thing. Because they're always, unlike an e-commerce transaction, where it's all impulsive buy, there is a workflow involved. There's an invoicing. There is a back and forth between the buyer and seller. So that precedes a payment. It's a very important distinction. Now, what is in play for PayPal, right? So we have adaptive APIs. So we have adaptive payments, adaptive accounts, and these kind of things would help you to get into this payments segment. And of course, the biggest deal is the business payments product that we launched. 50 cents flat with remittance and reporting. You cannot get anything cheaper than this in this world. And we also have the secure adaptive storage, which is a beta. Now, this is a very unique API where you can send unlimited remittance data in an API call. For example, I can send, for example, if I send you a check, I can send a book of remittance data. Now, I can't do it online because through an ACH, you just get in a transaction, right? You just get a payment. Whereas at a wire transfer, every line you add, it costs you more. Whereas with this API, the secure adaptive storage, you can actually upload like 4 or 5 reams of data. You can tell you why you want. You can write a story to your buyer, supplier. And you can learn more about these sessions. We have, if you want to know more about the product itself, there's a session called Replacing Checks and Cash with PayPal. It's in room number 2011 at 2 p.m. right after this session. Please come to that session as well. If you want to know more about the secure adaptive storage, please attend the tech playground area. So with this, I'd like to hand it over to Russ Jones from Glenbrook, who's going to talk more about the commercial payment segment.
No, you can hold on to that. Oh, you don't need. Thank you very much, Srinivas. My primary job here is to remind you that what Srinivas said is true. And I can go home now. On a more serious note, if you're not familiar with my firm, we're Glenbrook Partners. We're a small payments industry consulting firm located here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And the firm's about 10 years old, and we basically help clients with payment strategy work, payments research efforts, payments education. We have a payments boot camp series that a lot of people have attended over the last couple of years. And increasingly, we've been working in recent years on B2B payments. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the B2B payment marketplace, some of the challenges there, and particularly try to map that to opportunities that we see for developers. So Srinivas mentioned that is typical of commercial payments, there's oftentimes a workflow involved. This is the oftentimes part. This is the fundamental B2B payments workflow that's sort of pervasive across industries, across companies. It does vary to some degree, whether in terms of how rigorous it is, depending upon whether it's a large enterprise or whether it's a small business that's sort of acting as a buyer or acting as a supplier. But basically, when you think about B2B payments, you're thinking about all the steps along this process flow. And the key things to take away from this are, first, there's multiple steps. There's a purchase process, an invoicing process, a payment process. To a large extent, those things are unrelated from a technology's point of view. The thing that's frustrating to everyone in the industry is even going, step to step along the chain, things often are, kind of taped together. And what is paper in one step can be electronic in the next, and what is electronic in one can be paper in the other. And that creates frustration for a lot of companies, but creates opportunity for a lot of software developers. So this is just something to keep in mind here. From a payments perspective, you see pay down in the lower right-hand corner, and you have all of these different segments in the payments industry that sort of lay on top of this workflow. And as you can see down in the lower right-hand corner, there's a ton of companies and segments in the industry that all think they can come and help buyers pay suppliers. There's ACH networks in there, card associations, wire services, escrow services. Now there's PayPal in there. Congratulations, PayPal. You should be on this chart now. But if you're working in the space, in the B2B payment space, you don't have to be working just down at the payment step. You can be working anywhere along this flow, and because there's so much discontinuity, transitions back and forth between paper and electronic forms, because there's so many replicated forms of data, there's tons of opportunity in this space if you're a developer, tons of problems if you're a company. So when we look out in the marketplace and see, what is it that makes business payments painful for most companies? These are the high-level things. It's in spite of decades and decades of automation, this space is largely a check-based space, and there's all sorts of justifiable reasons why that's true. First and foremost, checks are just drop-dead simple and easy. You don't have to know the counterparty's payments details to send them a check. You just need to know their address. So with PayPal, they're kind of working in that spirit where you don't need to know all the payment details. You just need to know the email address. So hopefully there'll be some traction there. Srinivas mentioned the remittance data problem, and people often talk about remittance data being almost more important than the payment itself. I kind of find that hard to believe, but people say that a lot. And oftentimes companies have risen and fallen trying to solve this remittance data problem. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the secure storage API, to see how a lot of innovative companies can take that and work with that. There's oftentimes suboptimal support of global trading partners. This workflow predates the internet. It predates a lot of things flowing around the world in a very transparent way. So legacy systems oftentimes don't do a real good job of acting on a global basis. There's also an historical focus on enterprise buyers instead of suppliers, so there could be opportunities on the supplier side to help them do things more efficiently, get paid in a smarter way, if you will. And then there's this constant timing, a tug-of-war, if you will, between buyers and sellers around timing of the payment. And historically, it's been arguments, back and forth about who wants to control the float, who wants to benefit from the float. And that's been sort of like the, people's hesitation moving to ACH was they're going to lose all this check float type of stuff. With PayPal's entrance into this space, it gets even better, or perhaps gets worse, depending upon how you look at it, in the sense that there is no float now. These PayPal transactions are instantaneous. When the funds leave the buyer and go to the supplier, it's a matter of seconds, not a matter of days. And then a big opportunity area is the inaccessible data that perhaps is in one system that's not accessible to the other system. So as we like to think about it, there's lots of opportunity here for glue type of applications and glue type of integration tools that tie all these things together. So as Srinivas said, it's a big market. What I would add to it is it's a market that's full of opportunity. So if you were to ask us where to focus, I would say the sweet spots in this world today, one, they're going to be focused on there's an opportunity in cross-border B2B payments. That's something that the industry hasn't done a super good job looking at, and one that PayPal is pretty well positioned to help companies in this space with its global footprint. There's also opportunities with large workforces that have distributed mobile employees, whether they're field service reps or salespeople that want to do on-the-spot, on-the-go billing and invoicing type of applications. And of course, there's a lot of opportunity with small business and sole proprietors, because these types of companies are more familiar with PayPal and not quite so tied to their legacy systems as large companies. So clear opportunities here, not just in terms of what the pain points are and how real they are, but also clear opportunities to focus in the marketplace.
Good afternoon. Thanks. First, I'd like to say thanks to the PayPal team for inviting us to be a part of the conference and for giving us an opportunity to work with such a great platform. So my name's Rene Lacerte. I am the founder and CEO of Bill.com, where we focus on the financial platform for small businesses to manage their daily finances. So as you go through, I'll have an opportunity to kind of show you what that means. The first thing, just to kind of talk about the market opportunity, which I think is really important to understand for the folks in the audience, is it's a huge market. And I'm not going to go through all the metrics on this slide. I think the one that's probably most important to look at is the one in the middle that says value per year. So this data is from Glenbrook, and we do a bunch of work with Glenbrook, and they have great reports, so I highly recommend talking to folks there. But consumer left to be electronified, put into the online bill payment world, is $1 trillion. Business, $23 trillion. That's huge. It's really big, obviously. And I think one of the things that I ask myself is, how come the consumer market, the solutions that you might know from your bank today or whatever, why haven't they moved over to the right? Well, it's because they're dated solutions. They don't really get it. They built on a platform that was designed long before the internet, long before collaboration, long before instant payments that you can get today. The thing that makes us unique, and we think that makes small businesses unique, is that their payment process, and in general, their bill management process, is a process. It's not just a transaction. When you think about the accounting software companies out there, the bank tools that are out there, it's always about recording a transaction, a specific dollar amount. That's not the way businesses work. Businesses have a process. They're sticking yellow stickies on pieces of paper and throwing it around the office to see if it should be approved. We take all of that and put that into one application to make it really simple. So just to remind you, again, businesses have lots of documents. Typical business is going to have somewhere in the 50 to 70 bills a month. A typical consumer is going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 15 bills a month. I can keep track of 5 to 15 bills a month in my head. I can't keep track of 70. The next thing you'll see is they need to collaborate. We have 37 employees at Bill.com. I make 25 of them are actually on the Bill.com platform for approval. Now, it's not because I'm a control freak and I want to make sure everybody approves something in there. It's because people put in their expense reports. People put in the little thing that they did for the barbecue. And all this stuff needs to get approved, because how can I keep track of all the money people are spending? Again, this is the point. It's a process. And finally, it has to be integrated with the accounting software. So the accounting software that we work with, just to kind of name a few of the big ones out there, QuickBooks, Intact, Peachtree, QuickBooks Online, and soon NetSuite. All these things are integrated so that the customer has all their information synchronized seamlessly with those accounting packages. Now, one of the things, again, to differentiate with the data solutions of the past that the banks and others are offering out there is they think about the transaction as a cash transaction. That's the way consumers think about their business. It's cash transaction. Businesses do accrual. I'm a fourth-generation entrepreneur. My dad had 7 businesses. My father had 5. Everything I learned at the dinner table was cash is king, stretch out the payables, pull in the receivables. When you do that, you need to use accrual-based accounting. You have to integrate with these packages, because if I'm not going to pay somebody for 60 days, I need to know what I owe them, because they might call up and say, hey, you owe me money. So to simplify, what we do with Bill.com is we give all of our customers their own fax number, their own email account, and they have the ability to scan a document and send it in. We do the data entry. So you go from double entry to zero entry. We call it Bill.com Zen. The next thing that we do is we route bills for approval. Any of the documents that you have in the system, you can route it to others in the company and get their approval on it. Finally, we allow instant payment with PayPal. We also pay via check or ACH if that's what the customer needs. We think the instant payment with PayPal, which you'll get to see in a second, is really cool. And lastly, we do the synchronization with the accounting software that I talked about. All this stuff comes together and makes a pretty good difference. So let me hop out of here and get over to the browser. So I'm going to show a couple of things. I might need to, let me just quickly refresh and make sure I didn't get logged out. I'm going to show both the PayPal apps as well as, obviously, Bill.com. So the first thing you'll see is here's my balance in PayPal, $4,500 balance. Nice overview of all the detail in the account. Now I can click on View My Apps. Up comes Bill.com. I'm going to go into full page mode. And so the first thing you see with Bill.com is that there's an overview. There's a payables overview that tells you all the things that are going on with your bills. I'm kind of looking at this and I'm thinking, the overdue bills, that has me a little bit worried. let me go look at what's overdue. When I look at the overdue bills, I can quickly see a summary of all the bills that are due. And I can see this one was due on the 31st of January. Again, I'm kind of curious about what's going on with this bill. So now as I look at this bill, I can kind of come down here. I can see, some detail in there, $2,400. I see that there's a note here. I also see that it's been approved, but why haven't I paid it? When I hover over the note, I see that Mark approved the bill for $2,000 less than what it was originally because there was a problem with the product. But then you can see I added a note yesterday saying, hey, the service is the product, we're finally up to snuff, go ahead and pay the remaining. So now I'm able to go and pay that bill. I know exactly what needs to happen with that bill. Let me see if there's any other bills that need approval. Again, I'm looking at this and now I'm concerned because this is a big one. $20,700, that's going to really knock me back on the cash flow for this week. So let me go into this one and look at that. So again, I can see all the document, all the information's here. I'm looking at it. I can see that the subtotal was 17, but then Blue Cross said 10,000 was due, but then down here they said 20,000. And by the way, we're not making this up. These invoices from Blue Cross are this confusing. So it's part of the reason you need to have workflow. And the other thing that Blue Cross will do to you is they'll cash your check, but they won't cash it on their accounting records for 3 or 4 days. So oftentimes you get a double bill. And so now I look at this note here and I can see, hey, yeah, I talked with Blue Cross and was told this was for 2 months and we only need to pay $10,000. So hopefully you're getting a sense that, within PayPal, I'm able to see all these great things that are happening with the bills. So let's go over to pay the bill. So at this point, let's say I want to pay the Blue Cross bill. I'm going to show you this, but it's going to say not quite yet. So this is a page coming soon. There's still more work to get done between us and PayPal. But for now, I can go over to bill.com and show you what's going to happen here. Actually, let me go here first. And I kind of like the full screen mode. It gives you guys a little bit more to see. So in the Pay Bill screen, I can go in here. I can see that all I have to do, this one's going to go by check, and I'll just say this is going to go for $10,000. At which point, after I hit pay, it's going to come out of the bank account for B of A. So now that I'm done, let's just say, and just for a little sound effect, let's just say I get a phone call, and it's a vendor. So I'm going to pretend like the vendor's on the phone. I'm going to say, hi, Alona. Alona is the principal vendor the principal at Blue Apple Design. Hi, Alona, how are you? I'm fine, Renee. You owe me some money. You owe me $300. Really? I don't think I owe you $300. Let me go look. So you notice that we have a search box. I can search anything. We OCR every document that comes into the system. We also OCR, obviously, all the stuff that's typed in the system. I see a bill for $300. I click on it, and I'm looking at it. Again, scroll down a little bit. I can see the details. She says, yeah, it was for the mock-ups. Yeah, I see the bill for the mock-ups. I see that it was paid and cleared. You haven't gotten it yet? She's like, no, I never got it. I said, well, Alona, I'm looking at a clear check image here with your signature on it. And she's like, well, what day did it clear, Renee? April 21st, 2009. And then she says, oh, Renee, that's last year's mock-ups. I did some last night for you guys. Oh, really? Did you send a new contract in? Yeah, I did. Why don't you go look? Go over and I see Exhibit B was added last week. And I click on it. I say, oh, yeah, I see that. It's $300. Okay, let me go pay it. Why don't you send an invoice in? She says, oh, I already sent that invoice in. So now I'm going to hop back over to the PayPal apps. Where'd it go? Let's see here. Hop back into PayPal apps, and as I go over to look at enter the bills, let me go into full screen mode again. I can mouse over and I can see the bill here. I can click on the bill for Blue Apple. I'll type in the vendor name, put in the invoice number. I've paid this one a lot because it's a demo. Put in the amount. Put in the payment terms as due upon receipt because she really wants the money now. She mentioned she might be going shopping this afternoon. So now that the bill's been entered, I can go over to Pay Bills. We'll see that the bill for Alona is here, $300. And then I can drill down and I can say, I know, Alona, that you really want to go shopping. I see that I've got your PayPal email account set up. you want me to pay you right now? And she says, oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be really great, Renee. So again, I'm going to go back into bill.com. And I'm going to go over here and go to payment. Let me make this bigger. That's what I get for... and I see in here that I can go straight into bill.com, pay with PayPal. The PayPal balance should be here. That's actually, we'll see if it lets me let it work, but it should. That's the first time I've seen it do that. But the PayPal now would be instantaneously paid. And it says PayPal was successfully credited to the PayPal's vendor account. I can go back over to the PayPal apps. I'll be able to see that bill is now gone. I can go into my PayPal account and see that the $300 left the account today on the 27th. And I can hop back over to my email account. And if I refresh this, we should see an email from PayPal, something like this saying, oops, wrong one. Something like this saying that you've been paid. And you see the PayPal logo is up there. The money's been paid. And now if I'm Alona, if I log into PayPal as Alona, you'll see that Alona's money is in the account. So I think, everything, I want to watch the time. I want to make sure I give time for Mike. Everything that you've seen is pretty cool. So it's pretty much a game changer when it comes to businesses being able to be paid electronically. The B2B payments apps is great. The pricing is awesome. It's 50 cents a transaction. It's everything that we would expect and businesses are wanting today. So I look forward to continuing the development process with we have a lot of presentations here, but I think this is the right one. And sorry about all the builds. Get Mike ready for his presentation. The last thing on the slide is we also have an open API for developers to come and use, so feel free to check that out. We're growing 10 to 20% a month. We're Small Business Bill Management. Please tell your friends about it. Go to Facebook, come to our blog, and thank you for hearing us out. And I'll turn it over to Mike, and have a great time. Thanks.
All right, hey there, everybody. Hello. Okay, so see if I can't make these guys go away. Joy, give me 1 second here for some PowerPoint fun. Don't recognize those slides. This one's pretty best.
Yeah, so click on this.
This guy?
Yeah, go here.
Is this our presentation though?
No.
I don't think so. Close that presentation. Okay, beauty. Recognize this. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Thanks for bearing with us. My name is Mike. I'm from FreshBooks. We're like Renee, I want to thank the folks at PayPal for having us here and for all of you for choosing to spend your time with us. What we do at FreshBooks is we're the leaders in online invoicing. And we recognize that people go into business because they love what they do. And as soon as they start doing that stuff, they get caught up in a whole bunch of other things, all these other business processes that come out of nowhere and keep them from doing what they love. And so what we do is we help people get paid quickly and not spend time doing it so they can focus on what they love to do. The business itself, it was founded in 2003 by myself and another guy. We're based in Toronto, Canada. I spent 3.5 years in my parents' basement building it up. Levi, who's at the Banana Shack, we'll talk about that later, was there with me all along the way. And There's now 50 people back in Toronto cranking away, helping people get paid. We have a culture of service. We believe we're, in fact, a service business, not a technology. We have an awesome API. We'll talk about that in a second. There's no venture capital in the business, and we're on track to do about almost $4 billion in billing this year. I'm going to just tell you a little more about the business, what we're sort of talking about here and announcing today, and then I'm going to show you a demo of some of this stuff in the flesh. So at FreshBooks, we really have three customers. Okay? We have solo professionals. This might be a lawyer who works for themselves, might be a software developer, a web designer. We've got dog walkers and bakers as customers. Okay? These are people who get paid for their time and expertise. They pay us $19.95 a month to do that, and really we see the world from the point of view of an invoice. There's been a lot of talk about process. Okay? And what PayPal does is it moves money. So when you're ready to move money from one account to another, that's when you go to PayPal. But we manage all the stuff leading up to that point. So you want to create the invoice, get the correct details in there. You want to send it to somebody. You want to know that they've seen it. You want to hand them off to PayPal to maybe do a payment, and then you want to feed them back to the invoice, let them know it's updated and paid. We manage the process up to payment and then again afterwards. So we do that and we see the world from the point of view of an invoice. So we actually do things like we help these professionals send estimates or quotes and get them verified so that they can then generate an invoice for that. They can track expenses, right? Because if you're a lawyer and you have expenses you need to bill onto your customer, well, you want to get that stuff onto an invoice, and we see the world from the point of view of an invoice. So we help them do that. And then we offer a simple P&L. So if you're a solo professional, we're really your accounting package. Okay? But if you're a law firm or a design agency and you have 20 people cranking away tracking time, in that scenario, we're solving your billing problem. Right? We're helping you track that time and generate those invoices so you can feed them back into an accounting system. Okay, so that's the team customer. And increasingly, we serve subscription-based businesses. We have some of those up on the board just for the heck of it because it's a relatively new thing for people outside of FreshBooks to understand. We're serving companies like Bitly and other folks who have subscription-based businesses. Okay, so those are our three customers. What we're here to talk about today is something that we announced or helped announce yesterday in the keynote, which is these low-cost, the 50-cent transactions from PayPal. I was a guy I built FreshBooks for myself. I ran a design agency, and I used to invoice my clients, and sometimes I'd invoice them for hosting, and it'd be $300, and sometimes I'd invoice them for some services. And any invoice over $1,000, I would retract the ability for my customers to pay me online. And the reason was because it's just so expensive. Right? You have these very complicated to accept payments online. If you're not using something like PayPal, you need to get an internet merchant account, and there's all these hassles. And then you add the discount rates, right? And if you're not familiar with that, but PayPal and others, there's a percentage they take for facilitating the transaction. And so if I was doing some design work or some development work, and I had a $10,000 invoice, I'd lose like 3.5% to whoever was helping me facilitate that transaction. So to get paid my $10,000, I'd have to give up $350, which to me is crazy. And this is the fact for most businesses and many, many small businesses. And that's why I personally am so excited about these 50-cent transactions. Okay, so that's what PayPal is enabling us to do. For me as a developer, for those of you who are thinking about building on PayPal stuff, they're helping us make money with this. We're actually charging a fee of $5 to help facilitate these transactions because we know it's going to be worth it to the businesses who use this, right? To accept payment for $4,000 to pay $550, what a joke. What a joke. And the thing about it, and I'm going to show you how this works, but you don't need to worry about updating your records. You can cut out that trip to the bank. It all happens really fast. Very exciting stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go show you the demo now. We'll come back to this slide. I've just logged into my FreshBooks account, okay? And what I'm going to do is, you can see we help you manage your clients, your staff, invoices, estimates, expenses. We do time tracking, so lawyers love us. I'm just going to go ahead and create an invoice, okay? Invoice our CFO, Levi, here. And by golly, we've got an ad in there, so to speak. But really, this is promoting this new product that we're offering, the 50-cent pricing. So traditionally, you can collect payment with PayPal Standard, and it's going to be for a percentage of the invoice. And now we have this new offering, which I'm going to select, which is going to enable me to get paid for $5.50 as a flat fee instead. Okay, this is great for any invoice over $150. And the kinds of businesses we serve, right? Most of the invoices are much more than $150. Right? They're for services. Like your lawyer. When was the last time you got a bill from your lawyer for $150? Right? So I've enabled that. I'm going to create an invoice. I don't know if you folks have been by the banana stand, but I'm going to put one of those on here, a bunch of bananas to go along with it. And I've just created an invoice. As you can see, you can set terms. You can set default terms. I haven't done that in my FreshBooks account, but I'm going to just send this invoice along. I can verify my message. Bam. So I've created an invoice. I've sent it to my client. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go experience what it's like for that client to receive that invoice. And here you can see is a list of sent emails. And Levi would have received a very straightforward email, which would have included the text below to view your invoice, download a PDF copy, click on the link below. Okay, I'm going to skip going into a mail client to do this. I'm just going to paste this stuff in here. Paste my, come on. Always fun using other people's machines. Okay. Oh, that didn't work. So I'm just copying and pasting the link. I'm going to go and I'm going to see my invoice, as well as some other useful stuff. So here I am. I've landed. I can see my invoice. I can download a PDF. I can print this thing. I can dispute it if I don't agree with the terms. But here we are. It's $20. I'm going to pay it with PayPal. Now, I use a $20 invoice because we don't feel like moving $10,000 around. But the real point is that once these invoice amounts gets higher, that's when this product is incredibly exciting. So I'm going to kick over now. I'm going to pay this with PayPal. So here I'm verifying my transaction. I'm going to log in here as Levi. I think I might have just typoed there at the end. Let's see. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah. Nope. Thanks, though. I do appreciate that. That's good. Okay, so ideally we would have had all this stuff set up, but it was longer than 15 minutes, so PayPal would have kicked us out. Okay, so here we go. Now we're getting the option to say, hey, is this correct? Verify it. I'm clicking pay, and hey, look at that. So that could have been a $20,000, or actually it's up to $10,000 this is working with right now. So this worked. I'm going to kick back into my PayPal account. Here's more details. It's a pending transaction. Find out some more information about that. But that's pretty exciting. We're going to be able to move larger amounts of money at less cost and open the door for all these businesses for whom it was cost prohibitive previously to do online payments, which is just phenomenal. So yeah, I'll just talk about it for anyone who's interested in having a look and using this, maybe with their own FreshBooks account or getting a FreshBooks account that can have access to it. Please drop by the Banana Shack. If you're a developer, you want to build stuff on our API, FreshBooks is a web app built on an API, and it's available to you. We've got really cool things like webhooks and stuff like that to make you successful managing your billing and billing process. And yeah, we're rolling this out for invoices up to $10,000 for now. US to US today, and gradually rolling it out worldwide over time with the folks at PayPal. So thanks very much. So
now we have Q&A. So we have any questions on business payments? If you can, yeah, go ahead.
Can you wait for the mic, please?
So the question is, how do we tell within PayPal how to differentiate between a business-to-business payments and a regular payment? So when you, as an API caller, you say that I like to have this business payments enabled to my, like for example, Bill.com or FreshBooks, they said they like to use this product. We have an app ID. We go through the X.com portal. They'll apply for it. So we give them an app ID. So, and when they pass in the app ID and they have two other elements that they need to send, it's called payment subtype. So we will put them in the business payment flow. If you want to know more about it, there is a session at, in room number 2011 at 2 p.m. We can go into the details there. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm a community banker, and we would love to get into partnerships with you guys to do this kind of stuff for our customers. We have over 5,000 small business customers, and we have a lot of great infrastructure, positive pay, lockbox, remittance processing, all that kind of thing that we would love to hook into what you guys have developed. I guess my question is, are you guys willing to look at partnering with banks and co-branding with banks, such as what we've done with PayPal on mobile business payments? If yes, I'm buying. If no, why not?
Well, yeah, definitely. There's a big yes. I mean, we definitely chat with the BD team. Some of them are here. So we'll definitely take it offline and we can chat. Oh, yeah.
Jeff, I don't know, is my mic on? Or I can use this one. Just make these. Definitely interested in partnering. We've already partnered, obviously, with PayPal, and we believe that partnership is a great way to go. That's why we have an open API, which my guess is FreshBooks has the same answer.
Yeah, yeah, we're certainly wide open. I know that we're less interested in white label type offerings when we work with other folks. I'll just put that out there. But yeah, love being able to help your small business customers focus on what they love to do.
I noticed on the FreshBooks payment screen, when you send that last payment out, it went out as an e-check. So is that through PayPal, and is that a paper check, or can you describe what that process is like?
So just at the end there, you're saying you saw the screen that said e-check?
I think your PayPal setting must have been that a check just cleared the account.
It's bank or balance, right? So it's going to a bank.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, maybe Srinivas can speak to the technology a little more. It's really a PayPal question.
Yeah, so basically, like, business payments is 50 cents if you use bank or balance. If it is balance, it's instantaneous because we move money from one balance to another balance. But if it is a bank, we do a e-check and then send it back. So that's how we make the 50 cents.
So
what you saw is the 50 cents because he doesn't have any money in his bank, in his balance. So we went to the bank and get paying it. It's like an ACH. If we do an add funds into the PayPal bank, into the PayPal account, and move money into the other PayPal account.
But do you have the ability to actually, let's say the receiving organization doesn't have a PayPal account yet, do you have the ability to actually either do an ACH directly to their bank account or to send them a check?
So all our APIs are moving money from one PayPal account to another PayPal account. If the receiver does not have a PayPal account, what we have is a unilateral payments. We send an email to the person saying that you have money waiting for you. So they have to click on the link, set up the account with those whatever the basic 6 questions, and then you will receive the money right away.
And you might want to mention about adaptive
Yeah, we also have adaptive accounts. Like if you are, you can create an API. We can create an account through an API call, and we can send the money to that account too. So, like for example, FreshBooks and Bill.com could also integrate with this API called adaptive accounts, where we create a PayPal account through an API call.
I think just to follow up on that question, if you notice when we made payments, there was money in the account, so you got to see both experiences, right? So there was an instant payment on the payment side, and then the ACH thing, I think that kind of is up to PayPal, but that's kind of been our strategy is to let the customer choose, right?
Hey, Srinivas. So if it is an ACH transaction and there's a return, what happens? Or a reject?
So yeah, typically like each check we have very few return. The the fraud rate is very low, and there's, standard error rate. Good question, though.
It's why you should use PayPal. They manage all that stuff.
Yes, yeah, for the small business guys, for sure. And gals.
To use this, this is an API that we can use as a developer, but we have to go through FreshBook and build.com to use it, or I can manage in my own program?
Yeah, you can manage your own program. Like, FreshBooks and Build.com are one of the early adopters. Mm-hmm. There are 5 other early adopters. Like you could see in a session at 2 p.m., you can see 2 more early adopters. So you could be one of them using the API on yourself, like a developer.
Where is that? Here?
Yeah, today at 2 p.m., right after this session.
Here?
Yes, okay. 2011, room number 2011.
Okay.
Go Giants! Right?
Thank you, guys. So see, if any of you have any product questions, so come to the other session or catch us offline anytime. Thank you.
Thanks, Srinivas.
Thank you.